If you would like to give your furniture a new look with some paint but think it's too cold to do it outside or in the garage, think again. There may be a new paint product on the market that you can actually use indoors. KHQA's Kalil is live at District Designs in downtown Quincy this morning to show us how this paint can be used during the cold days of winter. Hey there, Lauren.
Well, Chad, if you're like me, you probably have some serious cabin fever this winter. But Reconsumed for You is trying a new paint product that's safe to use indoors around kids, pets, anyone, and you can do it in 8 easy steps.
Reconsumed for You at District Design is making do-it-yourself projects even easier than they already are. With their new Chateau Chic chalk paint, you're able to redesign furniture with a fresh new coat of color right inside your house.
So it's safe for, around kids, it's safe around pets. You don't have to worry about all of those things that can occur with traditional methods of painting furniture.
The chalk paint has no VOC, which are chemicals found in most paints, and has a low odor. And with some of these cold days we've had this winter, redecorating your home no longer needs to be a summer hobby.
If you don't have the opportunity during the winter to be able to open your windows wide and turn on a fan, it's nothing you really have to worry about. And cleanup is done with just easy soap and water.
Using chalk paint can be done in just 8 steps. Gather your supplies, select the piece you want to paint, clean off the piece, lightly sand if it's needed, and you're already halfway done. Then start painting with your color of choice, distress if you want, add a finishing coat, clean with water, and you're done. The entire project should take about 2 days depending on how many coats you want to add. But if you're not very good at DIY projects, Taylor says this one is even for beginners.
If you're just wanting to kind of play around with changing the color of an accent piece in your home, it's something that even the novice DIYer is able to use. If you paint it and you hate the color, you can go right over the top of it with a new shade and, kind of freshen it up and start over again.
Well, this morning I'm with Chris Taylor from Reconsumed for You. Now, can you tell me what exactly are we doing this morning?
Sure. So this morning we're going to walk you through the easy steps of chalk painting a piece of furniture in your home. And it's nice to do in your home because we've got a lot of ways we can do that and mitigate dust and chemicals and all those other kinds of great things. First thing you do, of course, is remove your hardware. We're going to replace this yucky one, so we don't like that. And we have gone through already and used a natural cleaner to kind of take off any fingerprint grease or anything like that, any leftover coffee rings, all that kind of good stuff. Our next step is to take our wet sanding block. This is nice because it mitigates the dust. We wring it out in the water, and I've got yours already wrung out and ready to go. And we don't have to do this on everything, but I like it because it always is going to improve adhesion. And then you just kind of go in the direction of the grain. And you're going to get a little bit of moisture on the wood, and that's fine because what we're going to do after we've kind of done a once over, kind of like scrubbing pots and pans, you're just going to take an old t-shirt, which I've cut up, or you could use an old hand towel or whatever, and we're just going to take any of that moisture off because moisture and wood do not mix. And we don't want to leave it on there any longer than what we have to. But what that's going to do is that the moisture actually traps the dust. So not only is it trapped in the sponge, but anything that might have been on the piece in the air is now in our towel. And we let that air dry. I usually like to let it do overnight. I like to let all my steps, have the maximum amount of dry time. But really what we're doing today, you could get accomplished in maybe 2 evenings after work, depending on the size of piece you've got.
Well, why is this product, Chris, safe to be around children, pets, all of that good stuff?
Well, the line of chalk paint we've chosen to carry is a no VOC paint. And it basically means that there are no volatile organic chemicals, which are usually the reason they tell you to open doors and windows, make sure the house is well ventilated. And I don't know about you, but when it is 0 degrees outside, I want to paint, but I'm not opening the doors and windows to ventilate my house. So this is a nice option that you've got, and it's easy soap and water cleanup, so if you spill a little bit, it's okay. So right now we're on the step where we're going to apply the paint. We've already cleaned it. We've already given it a light sanding if necessary.
Okay.
And now we're just going to apply the paint. You have options here. You can use a wet brush and end up with more of a wash. You can let your paint sit out in a smaller size container for the amount you're going to use. Let it sit up for 10 to 20 minutes and it'll be able to go on in one big thick globby coat because some people like that finish. But for me, I find 1.5 coats typically covers my piece and are able to change the color. So it's really easy to work with too. You can brush in one direction with the grain. We're going for more of a cleaner look here by the time we're going to be finished with this dresser. But some people prefer something that feels a little bit more built, and they'll brush in multiple directions, kind of almost carelessly for a different look altogether. So once you've painted and applied your coat and you're happy with the color of the finish, then we're going to go into distressing if you want to do that. You don't always have to. Some people like to sand. I like using the wet sanding block because, again, it keeps down the dust. There's less to worry about. But for this piece, it was actually kind of like a blonde golden pine, and I didn't want that finish showing through. So to mitigate that, we actually did some faux distressing. So by taking the same kind of paintbrush, what we did is we chose a different color. So we did a two-tone. We did black and brown. And so when you see it as a package, it really looks like something that you've sanded through multiple layers of paint by just simply taking your brush and dipping it in a complementary color, contrasting color, depending on what you're working on, and just kind of tipping on the edges. It doesn't have to be anything fancy or particular. And if you don't like how it comes out, all you have to do is pick up that brush and go back over it with your gray again and cover it up and start again. Yeah, so our very last step is going to be sealing the piece up. With chalk paint, it's an unsheen surface, so for maximum protection you want to apply a sealer. What we're going to do this morning is soft paste wax that we carry, but you could of course use a variety of different finishes from polyurethane to shellac. It really depends on how much durability you want and how you want it to look when you're done.
Okay.
So if you ever applied a lot of blush, like for Halloween or Girls Night Out or whatever it is,
or TV.
It's kind of the same idea. Or TV, yeah. It's very easy. You just take your wax brush, or you can use a foam brush or an old t-shirt, and you're just going to do a couple circles and really load up your brush full of the nice soft paste wax. I always tip it off just a little bit, and you just go and brush it on. I'm a brusher. Some people like to kind of mash it into the wood. It's really a personal preference. You're going to apply whatever finish you're going to use, whether it be wax that way or stippling it in or however, and then you're going to let it sit for 15 to 20 minutes. It's going to let it harden up. And our next step is going to be to buff it. So that's going to give it its maximum sheen and protection. Now
I get the power tool.
You can't do it with an old t-shirt, a white towel is what I suggest, or a white lint-free cloth. And you just kind of go through and buff it, and give it that sheen. But I like the buffer. $19 at a local home improvement store. Oh boy. And you're just going to hang on and buff. Now, usually used for waxing cars, but we even use it to buff our stainless steel fridge because we don't have one of those fingerprintless ones, so it's a nice way to get a sheen on whatever you're using. But for what we do, it works perfect.
Okay, well great. Thank you so much, Chris. And it's funny because I've never used that before, and even I could do it. So hopefully you would be able to do it too.